Our objectives for today are the following. First, to identify the social goals and the socially acceptable means of society. Second, to advocate inclusive citizenship. Third, to promote protection of human dignity, rights, and the common good. Today, we will discuss one of the phases of social sciences, and that is sociology. Just like anthropology, sociology has a discipline-based concept, and that is the interpretation of society. So when we say sociology, according to Kalun, is the scientific study of society. It includes pattern of social relationships, social interactions, and culture as well. And when we say sociology, it's a term coined by Auguste Comte in 1830. Auguste Comte is also considered as the father of sociology. Within the field of sociology, there are different subdisciplines that will help us to understand the system and the organization of society. The first subdiscipline is social organization. Society is an organization in itself. Social organization is the relationship of different parts of society. It involves social structures, social stratifications, and institution and social groups. For example, is the mobility or the movement of a certain group. For example, is the ethnic groups, which fall within the scope of social organization. Another subdiscipline is social psychology. When we see social psychology, this is the study of the impact of group life to a person's nature and personality, wherein we study how humans respond to the different social phenomenon. Another subdiscipline is human ecology. When we say human ecology, it pursues the study that relate human behavior to existing social institutions. The difference between social psychology and human ecology is the focus of human ecology is the human itself, which is the subject belong to are treated in the context of an ecological or environmental elements that defines human behavior. Always remember that our environment has a big impact or has a vital role to our human behavior or to our behavior. Another subdiscipline is social change and disorganization. When we say social change and disorganization, this is the branch of sociology that inquires the shift in social and cultural interactions. It is because most of the times, social change happens due to disorganizations. A good example of disorganizations is conflicts or the different perspectives on society. For example, is one of the disorganization philosophy or principle in our history is the slavery, wherein black people coined as a slave. And due to that philosophy or perspective, social change happens, and that is the abolition of slavery. And that is illegal now today. Another example is feminist movement, wherein way back again in our history, women are passive to our society. They cannot vote, they cannot go to the school as well. But as time goes by, feminist movements are so rampant to our society. And it caused equal protection and equal treatment of between man and woman. Another subdiscipline of sociology is applied sociology. When we say applied sociology, this is the uses of different approach or a methods to solve contemporary problems or different social problems. The basic concept in sociology is the scientific study of society. And society is an organization in itself that caters human needs for belongingness in a group. Society can be defined as a product of human interactions as humans subscribe to the rules of their culture. Or when we say society, this is created by man by means of interactions and the systems of ways of living. And we have different perspective on society based on the different sociologies. We have, according to Auguste Comte, that society as a social organism, wherein social organism possessing a harmony of structure and function. Auguste Comte believes in positivist methods or approach, wherein this is a perspective that we need to use a methods of natural sciences to understand social phenomenon. According also to Auguste Comte, that this is a perspective taking into consideration that society is like an organism that could be measured through logic and mathematics. So this is the reason why do we have the field of demography or population as well, or why do we need to have the records of population rate in a certain society? Yan. To cater the needs of individuals or a certain group. Another perspective on society, according to Emile Durkheim, is society as a reality in its own right. So this means of reality. According to Durkheim, the reality in our society coined by the term of social fact. So when we say social fact, is the different social phenomenon in our society. And that different social fact help us to navigate or understand the human behaviors towards to our society. Another is, according to Talcott Parsons, that society is a total complex of human relationships that you didn't know, or you don't know it where it will start and ends the human relationships in our society. And lastly, according to Robert McIlver and Charles Page, that society as a system of usage and procedures of authority. We all know that we have different procedures of authority and policies as well on the different group of people, or it can cause many groupings or divisions in our society, and it controls human behavior and liberties as well in our society. And again, we create society due to social interaction. And social interaction is the framework of our society. Social interaction is the compilation of ways and means by which humans interact with each other within the confines of a society. In other way, social interactions help us to transmit practices, culture as well, or our ideas to a different group of people. And it helps us to understand other system or other practices. And by means of social interaction, we establish different social organization. And social organization is a system of obligation or relations which exist among and between the groups constituting a given society. So when we say social organization, it can be classified by group or a social group. When we say group, is a basic unit of an organization. It involves at least two individuals who are in constant interaction based on their statuses and roles. Ayan. A good example of group in social organization is student council or the relationship of student leaders towards to their fellow students. Or it can be also the relationship of students towards to their teachers. Another example is protest rally, wherein the relationship of people or the activist itself towards to their government or other social organizations. Another part of social organizations is institutions. So when we say institutions, are established when groups are perpetuated within the context of society. Always remember that institutions are the building blocks of a society and they are interrelated to each other. For example, can you imagine that our society without education or without religion or the government as well? Or in other way, when we say institution, this is the constant recreation as human interactions. And the different institutions help us to establish and create a good human behavior and harmonious relationship towards to the other group of people. So, it's very important how functional they are to their or to our society. In our society, we must assure conformity. So what is conformity? According to Simply Psychology, conformity is often used to indicate an agreement to the majority position brought about either by a desire to fit in or be like, or because of a desire to be correct. Or in other way, most of the people wanted to be fit in to our society. So, lacking of conformity in our society, it provides more mechanism, rules, or consequences as well to the people. For example, is to be fit in into our society or the different social standards wherein most of the people wanted to be themselves to accept in our society. But again, there are standards or norms that traditionally we need to follow because a lot of criticism that we may experience to others. And that's the cause of lacking of conformity to us wherein there are different standards in our society that we need to be ourselves or ano bang susundin natin? Following the social standards or being real or truth to yourself.